Hi there, this video is going to focus on the meaning of each line in the TVM solver on a TA84 Plus graphing calculator. The assumption we're going to make in this video is you've already gone through this with your teacher, so it's just meant as a reminder of what each of the line means in case you're having some trouble with a specific question. You'll notice as we go through, I don't go in order. I picked level of complexity as the order for which line we look at first. So starting with the least complex, we have interest rate. I% is interest rate. And the interesting thing here is that it's already in percent. So if you had an interest rate of 9.5% in a question, you don't need to convert it to 0.095 like you would with a normal calculator. You would just put in 9.5 into the interest rate. It's important to note the interest rate is normally an annual interest rate, but it doesn't have to be. It depends on the question. PV, the third line, stands for present value. It's the amount of money in the investment or the amount of money borrowed on day one. It could be zero if you're starting with nothing. It could be any amount higher than zero as you go from there. It is a dollar amount. Future value is how much you would like to have in the investment or how much the loan will be paid off in the future. For example, if we were doing a mortgage, our present value might be $300,000, but then we would want our future value to be zero. Alternatively, you may have invested $1,000 in the bank. That would be present value. And so in the future, you want to know when you're going to have $3,000. Now there's a glitch with present value and future value. One of these two values needs to have a negative associated with it, unless one of them is zero, in which case it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one. You could say if you invested $1,000 that you are out $1,000 because you just gave it to the bank. So you could put the negative there, and then when they give you back your money at the end of the investment, you have positive $3,000. That would work, but just bear in mind PV and FV must have opposite signs, positive and negative. Payment is how many regular payments will be made, either over the course of the investment or over the course of the loan, paying off the loan. Payment and present value have a relationship with their signs as well. If you invested $1,000, like we talked about on the previous slide, and you're making regular payments of $50,000 that's contributing to this investment, your payment, did I say 50,000? Let's make it regular payments of $50. Your payment should be the same sign as your present value because you're contributing to the investment. On the other hand, if you borrowed $1,000 from a friend and you were paying it off $50 at a time, your payment should then be the opposite sign of your present value because you want to have payments take away from the present value or reduce it down to zero. So again, payment matches present value sign when you're contributing to an investment. They should be opposite signs when you are taking away from an investment or reducing an amount that you owe somebody else. Also, don't confuse payment with a first time amount. Right? If you put in $1,000 and then monthly payments of $50, your payment is $50. Your one-time payment at the beginning is your present value. Payments per year is just what it says. It's how many payments you plan to make per year. If you're paying off a loan monthly, you would have 12 payments per year. If you're paying off a loan daily, you would have 365 payments per year. P, Y, and N are linked together, and that link is so important we'll actually look at it on its own slide right near the end of the video. CY is how many times the interest is compounded per year. By default, CY is 1, meaning your interest is compounded annually. A lot of times in the question they will tell you the interest is compounded annually, monthly, quarterly, daily, in which case you put in the appropriate amount per year. So if we were going to be having interest compounded quarterly, we would come here and put a 4. If the question does not mention compounding periods per year, it's very common to just make your compounding periods per year the same as your payments per year. The top value, the N, is probably the value most people struggle with at the beginning when they're looking at tvmsolver. N is the total number of payments for the loan. So for example, if you were going to take out a 25-year mortgage and you were going to make 12 payments per year, in other words, you're paying monthly, N would have to be 12 payments per year times 25, or 300 payments. The nice thing about N is when you're typing in N, if you have to do a calculation such as this, you can type in 12 times 25 on your graphing calculator and it'll fill in 300 for you. You don't have to do the calculation in your head or off to the side. You can type it right in there. N is linked to the number of payments per year. So you have to always remember that. We're going to go on to the next slide here. If I am making, let's say, 6 payments per year, that's every second month I would be making a payment on some investment. If I was doing that for 10 years, my N would be 10 years times whatever PY is, in this case 6. If I change my PY and I'm going to be paying off this loan monthly instead, my 10 years would become 10 times 12. So PY and N are linked together. N is always going to be your number of years times how many payments you have in a year. That's the end of the video. It's worth it just as a postscript to mention that if you look at the bottom where it says payment end, for all questions in Applied 30 and 40, just leave payment on end. That will cause your questions to match all of the answer keys in the back. Okay, thanks for watching.